It's Travel Boom 2021. I'm 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗧. Let's get in with this new show. To start this week's show, we're going straight to Dubai. And on Zoom right now, I've got the lovely Bianca Pewtress. How are you, Bianca?
Hi Shane, how are you? I'm good, thank
Top
you.
of the world. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Bianca, you're in Dubai. You've been on 2 staycations in Dubai. I'm really interested why you would stay in Dubai when you live in the city anyway. Can you kind of tell me about that?
Yeah, of course. So, the best way to put it is, for Dubai standards, I live in the countryside. So going into the city is a staycation in itself. And we just needed to get away from our own 4 walls, get away from the sand, which is your equivalent of the greenery. I just needed to change the scenery.
I get you. Now, Dubai, I know, has taken COVID-19 very seriously. I know a lot of the world has taken it seriously, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But how have you coped with that and doing the staycations and feel, the travel? How have you felt that to be?
So Dubai got very strict very quickly from the outset of COVID hit. So the UK obviously has taken quite a while to get to their different stages and different tiers. But when we got the sound, so should you say that COVID is coming into play, we technically went into lockdown from March, the end of March already. My folks were over here, they got on the last plane, literally the last plane out of Dubai back to the UK. And from that following week, we were in lockdown. We needed permits to leave the house to do your grocery shopping, which you had to apply for online. And if you were caught outside of your house, you would get tremendous fines. You couldn't leave the house without having gloves on, without having masks on. So that was quite scary. I mean, that was for about 3 or 4 months that we were on that level of lockdown. And it's quite a difficult thing to be part of. So the moment they said, all right, you can get out of your house, you don't need a permit anymore, I was like, right, I'm out. I need to leave these 4 walls because I don't even know how clean it is in here. So let's go somewhere else. Let's get the bomb squad in here, quite literally, and just change the scenery. We were a bit nervous, to be honest, but the first staycation we went on to was at the Grosvenor House, and their level of sanitization was, I've never seen anything like it. It
You
was
had
phenomenal.
packs and everything when you turned up in the room, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so from the moment we arrived, they literally opened the doors for us. We couldn't touch the bags. They took our bags out of the car and they sent our bags through a sanitization process, which I was blown away. I was like, oh, okay, they're not messing around. Went in, we had the thermal scanner, got to the check-in desk, and our pens were in packets, so I knew they were clean and fresh and brand new. The people were wearing their masks, they were wearing the gloves. There was, I don't even know the terminology for it, so I'm just going to say it is as simple terms as it is, but the actual glass to keep the distance between us, it was just phenomenal. And after we physically checked in, they gave us individually a box of masks, sanitization and some wipes, which I was blown away by. Your own little sanitization kit, if you like. And the moment we got up to the room, you knew everything was sanitized because there were little seals on everything, so you knew it wasn't broken and literally just been cleaned. And it was out of this world. And what took it to the next level was actually our breakfast the next morning. It was still buffet, although people shouldn't be doing buffets at the moment. We couldn't get up to go and get our food. So the whole spread was out, the screens were up, and the waiters went and fetched everything for us. So we could go to the little fresh juices and get our cereals, but for the most part, we couldn't help ourselves to fresh food. So it was really nice that they integrated that buffet of why you actually go away, because I go away for buffets, eat as much as I want, stuff my face for a few hours.
I miss the buffets, you know what I'm saying?
So they still kept that element there. They didn't lack. I actually think they made the buffet experience better because I didn't have to queue for my fried eggs. So yeah, it was really good. So definitely felt safe. I felt safer there than I did in my own home.
Well, we love to hear your comments. Please drop us a comment. We are trying to find out what people's thoughts are right now about traveling with the current situation going on in the world. I'm joined now with Bianca. Now, Bianca, a few weeks later, you went into another hotel. Where was that? And tell us your story about that hotel.
Yeah, of course. So we went to the 𝗘𝗵𝗬𝗧𝗪𝗲. It's on the Palm here in Dubai, and we'd never stayed there before. We've been to Atlantis to go to the water parks, but we thought it would be quite phenomenal to stay on the actual Palm itself. So Jumeirah is one of the biggest brands in hotel industry, especially over here, and again, from the moment we pulled up to the moment we got to the desk, to the moment we got into the rooms, it was just phenomenal. Jumeirah are quite local in a sense of there are a lot of local people that do come to this hotel as well. It's just not Westerners. So it was very nice to see that they were still coming out and still taking part in festivities, activities, still staying in the hotels, which also made me click. It's some of the highest standards of health and safety. If they're happy, then we're happy, because they obviously look after their people in abundance over here. So it was really, really, really nice to see that everyone was still coming out. So it wasn't just us that felt safe, and it was the locals as well. So for me, that made me feel safer, in too many words.
Sure. Now, Bianca, just before we've wrapped this interview up, just tell me your thoughts on travel right now. Obviously, you like to travel. It's one of the biggest industries in the world, or it certainly was. What's your thoughts on travel right now, and anyone watching this show back, to kind of put their mind at rest about traveling at the moment?
Yeah, sure. Dubai opened its doors pretty quickly compared to the rest of the world, I think, for tourism. So to see people coming back into the country, you had to have your PCR test. So we knew people weren't just coming in nilly-willy. So we've been exposed to tourism quite early on compared to the rest of the world. So I think that's kind of rejigged and reprogrammed our brains to be ready for traveling ourselves, because we see all these people coming in, having fun on our beaches, having fun in our pubs, having fun in our restaurants, and it kind of makes you think, I think it's time for us to do that as well. So we like to travel, myself and my husband, twice a year, and the fact that I've been cooped up in one place is driving me absolutely mental. So we've actually booked a trip to the Maldives on the 17th of December, so I'm getting out of here very quickly. But I'm also kind of excited, because in my head, I think sometimes I'm quite small in my thinking, but in my head I feel like the airplanes are going to be safer than they ever were before, because they're being cleaned more than they ever have before. So I think and feel in my brain that it's going to be cleaner and safer than I ever have been.
Indeed, I think the whole world is cleaner than it's ever been before, for sure.
To some degree, I feel COVID has been an eye-opener for a lot of people, and it's also brought a lot of blessings as it has negativities, and I know it's hit a lot of people really hard. But I myself have got fitter, lost more weight, so I can only take the positive steps in it, and hopefully be safer out there when I travel the world as well. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Well, it's always a pleasure to see it, Bianca. Give my best to Tom as well, and I'll look forward to catching up with you real soon when I head over to Dubai with Helen.
Yes, we are open.
Fantastic. Well, that was the wonderful Bianca Pewtress telling her story about travel for her at the moment. Now we're going to catch up with the lovely Paula Middleton. I'm joined now with the wonderful Paula Middleton, all the way up in Manchester, probably one of the most COVID places in the whole world right now. It's crazy up there, right? You're in the highest tier. Paula, a pleasure to meet you. How are you?
Thank you, Shane. Hello. Yes, it is a bit crazy up in these neck of the woods, but we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Good stuff. Well, you travelled, I believe, to my native Cornwall with your hubby and 4 children recently. Tell us about that trip and when you came down.
Yes, well, what happened was we obviously had a global pandemic happen. I don't know if you've missed it or if you've seen it anywhere. But then in July, some of the restrictions we had in the UK were lifted. So we decided, I want to go somewhere. We need to go somewhere. We need to get out of these four walls. And we went to Cornwall, and it was absolutely beautiful. It's a place that's always been on my list, and I'm a big mental health campaigner, and mental health is really important to me. And after being locked down, it was a perfect sort of option for us. It was excellent.
Now I have to ask you, where did you stay in Cornwall? What part did you visit?
We stayed in the I've forgotten the name of it. It's a very famous and very exclusive place, actually. It's let me just
Yeah, check it. Don't panic. This is a relaxed show. Whilst you're finding out, I will talk to the wonderful viewers to say you're watching Travel Boom 2021. It's a new show. It's talking about travel. It's airing your concerns and listening to people who are traveling, because we all know it's one of the biggest industries in the world. It certainly was before COVID-19. And people want a bit of confidence to travel again. And right now, I'm talking to the wonderful Paula Middleton, who's up in Manchester. I'm in Cornwall in our studio. And we're just talking about everything travel and trying to put that kind of peace of mind out there that travel is still going on in the world. You can travel safely. And I'm listening to people's stories. Now, Paula, have you found out where you stayed in Cornwall?
Of course I have. It's '𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate.
𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate, yes.
𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate, yes. And we stayed in an apartment on the grounds of 𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate. It's an absolutely beautiful place, 5-star. And I understand that when celebrities are in the area, they also stay there. So yes, it was lovely.
If it's good enough for the celebrities, it's good enough for Paula and her family. And that's what I'm talking about. And of course, we know 𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate very well at the Cornwall channel because we actually produced one of their videos. So yes, a big fan of 𝗀𝗏𝗧𝗪𝗢 Estate. So how do holidays impact on your family and the mental well-being? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, they have a huge impact, because what I've noticed, I mean, I've studied psychology, and I know the psychology of someone telling you that you can't do something and that you have to stay within a certain space. Psychologically, you're going against that. There's like a cognitive dissonance, if you like. It's not your brain. You want to get out. You want to do things. You want to spend time and make memories with your family. When you're told you can't, then it really does kind of upset the apple cart. So for us, travel is the most important thing that we have, and to be told that we can't do it right now, it's tough. But I do know that we won't be in this position forever. So we're planning on what's to come. Quite exciting, to be honest.
Quite well. Before lockdown 2.0, you went to Scotland. You went to Scotland. Tell me a bit about that.
So Scotland is very special to me. My dad actually lives in the Outer Hebrides. We didn't go there, but we went to Aviemore for a week, and then for the second week we literally went 15 minutes away in lodges in the woods, basically. Another bucket list item to stay in a pine lodge in the woods. It was over Halloween as well, so the kids were loving it. It was quite spooky and scary, and we've had an incredible time. Yeah, it's been worth every moment.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you travel lots and lots more in 2021. It's been a pleasure to have you on the Travel Boom 2021 show. Any kind of last kind of words of advice for anyone watching the show? Because the show is all about giving confidence to people who want to travel and listen to people tell their stories. Any words of wisdom for those wishing to travel at the moment, but they're still scared to step out of the house?
Yeah, I speak to people that feel exactly like that every single day. And a lot of people say, you know, travel, why are you concentrating on travel? I'm concentrating on travel because it helps my emotional health. It helps us bond as a family. And yes, it's a little scary when you're thinking about what's happening in the world right now. But what you've got to remember is the hospitality industry wants you. And they are going out of their way to make sure that you are 100% safe. A lot of the places that I've been to post-COVID and all this lot, they actually do a non-contact check-in. So you get things by email, by text, everything you need when you're in your own sort of apartment and stuff. You don't have to come into contact with anyone. So it's so safe all I would say is just try it. Just try it. It's worth it.
Fantastic. Well, Paula, it's been a pleasure to meet you in person, and hopefully our paths will cross in the near future. But stay safe up there in Manchester, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Shane.
So that was the wonderful Paula Middleton there. Thank you very much to you indeed. Now we're going to catch up with the wonderful Lauran Bush. Okay, so you are watching Travel Boom 2021. My name is Shane Solomon. I'm joined on Zoom now with Lauran Bush. How are you, Lauran? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Shane. I'm very well, thank you. Lovely to see you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Now, you are an industry expert who deals with hotel owners, general managers throughout the UK and across the world, all the way through lockdown 1.0 and 2.0. You have been on conference calls with these kind of people. What is the feeling out there?
Absolutely. I'm very privileged to work for a company called EP Business and Hospitality, and that really is our role, is to bring people together to share knowledge. The feeling, I think we're on version 7.35, and people have rejigged their plans about 27 times, and they're still doing that. But the feeling out there is quite mixed. I think we had a lot of hope post-lockdown version 1, and I think that was dashed a bit with lockdown version 2. Now heading up to Christmas, some of the sentiment is that Christmas is cancelled because a lot of operators are looking at how much it's actually going to cost them to stay open and whether that is a viable option for them. And for many, it just isn't. So very mixed out there, and it's been very interesting to see how, because like you say, we are fortunate to have relationships all across the globe, and to speak to general managers all over. I actually spoke to one yesterday in Indonesia who was at 97% capacity, and that's without any sort of international travel, and it's 1,000 bedrooms. So you know, it's one where it is different everywhere, but here very mixed. Very real conversations being had at the moment about the future for many, and it's not always looking bright, unfortunately.
Well, you are joining us on our wonderful show here, Travel Boom 2021. I'm joined with Lauran Bush. Now, Lauran, at the moment, your personal feeling about people traveling, the importance of it, the kind of psychology perhaps around traveling, what's your thoughts on it at the moment? Because there's people just literally scared still to go out of their houses.
Absolutely. Again, I think staycation is that, and Zoom and pandemic are the words for 2020. Staycation definitely is something that people have fallen in love with. I think people do want to travel. People are missing loved ones. People, we are creatures that need that interaction. We need to travel. And for us, not being able to do that, it is just foreign. I do think, though, that being able to only, for a lot of us, travel in the UK has helped us to fall back in love with so many amazing places. We are so lucky to live in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And I do think that it's given people a chance to re-engage with communities. I mean, hotels are often the center of communities. We always say in our industry, you know, the traditional pillars have been lost. So the traditional bank manager is now an internet page. The solicitors, well, no one really ever wants to go to a solicitor. And when you then have got the hotel, the general manager, that is a center of a community. If you stay in a lovely hotel, you're not only supporting the hotel, you're supporting local farms, you're supporting local producers, you're enabling jobs. And in situations like this, we really do need to focus on that. And if we can do that and still go to beautiful places in the UK, I really think that that's important. From a mental health perspective, lockdown 7.25, you know, it's really been hard mentally, and we've had that that fear. There's still a lot of fear out there, but there is a lot of hope out there, because I think in the staycations, people have engaged in totally different ways, and they've found new things to be excited about. So no, you can't jump on a plane and head to Greece, but you know, you can. I'm fortunate to live in the Cotswolds. You can head to beautiful little villages or beautiful countrysides, you know, beach resorts that you didn't know existed. So there's lots of positivity there, and from a mental health perspective, we really, really need that.
Quite. Well, I share a place where I live in Cornwall, like yourself in the Cotswolds, very beautiful, and there's been no shortage of visitors here during the most recent times. And in fact, I think probably the most visitors we've probably seen in Cornwall ever, I think, during the time, because people are desperate to get out. But the reason for this show and for our viewers is for people to get a bit of confidence from other people that are traveling, that are doing the staycations, and just seeking advice really, and listening from industry experts like yourself is very beneficial. Now, what is the hotelier mood right now at the moment, Lauren? And do they need us to travel locally? I think it's an obvious question, but.
Well, the mood right now is that our industry, hospitality hoteliers, they are planning for the future. So they've had to, a lot of them have done exceptionally well, like you say. I was one of the tourists that headed down to Cornwall, so thank you very much for Cornwall. I was able to spend a week or so there during a bit of a go-awaycation. But it's very much them planning for the future. So hospitality hasn't traditionally embraced technology very well, but what we were forced to do is look at mobile apps, look at how we are more efficient, and listen to the customer, because it's all about giving the customer that feeling of safety so that they have trust, so that they then stay and enjoy their stay, and obviously then tell everyone about it so that they can keep coming. That's very much what has been done. For those that are in a fortunate position, that are able to financially keep their doors open and move things forward for the new year, there's been a lot of planning around that. A lot of them are looking at how can they better engage their local communities, how can they tell their stories better, because a lot of hotels have got phenomenal stories, but sometimes, you know, I think they've gotten a bit lazy. They've just waited for the airplanes to land and expected everyone to arrive, and now they've actually had to tell their stories better and engage better with the traveler, and that's through trust, that's through visible cleaning. That's always going to be a thing that we're not going to move away from. But again, to be able to have great hoteliers with these beautiful hotels, why would you not want to stay? And selfishly, you know, from my side, I want us to go on staycations. I mean, next year, yay, thrilled about the vaccine, but the reality of it is that it's going to take some time. We're also very aware that our industry has been on its knees for a while now, and we don't really know what's going to happen for the next couple of months. But we've estimated, because of conversations we are sometimes fortunate or unfortunate to have, that so we've got a lot of hotel insolvencies which will hit us sort of Q2, Q3 next year. So hotels need our support. They're also being very proactive in looking at their offer. You know, how can they reimagine spaces? What can they do differently that is going to enable us to be better? So a lot of them are looking at co-working spaces in lobbies or banqueting areas which are now redundant. How can they help people who are not going back to offices or don't want to go back to offices find somewhere else that's safe, that is a great place for them to engage, hold meetings, to work. So there's this whole business and leisure type thing that hotels are engaging with at the moment. And I think for us as I'm an employee, but for us as employees to be able to look at work differently and embrace potentially, someone said to me the other day, it's not working from home, it could be working from hotel. So that is, you know, something maybe we should be looking at, supporting hotels in different ways for the future.
Quite well. What an insight. Well, Lauren, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and thank you so much for deciding to come to Cornwall for a bit of a stay. I've not been to the Cotswolds for a long while, actually, so I am due a visit back there. But hey, we've got a connection now through the show. You know,
So welcome. 𝗀𝗑𝗧𝗪 is here.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'll leave you go now, but thank you very much and safe journeys wherever they take you next.
Thank you, Shane, and well done on this program. Absolutely. Everyone keep traveling. Our hospitality industry definitely needs you. So please carry on doing your great work.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, there we are, the lovely Lauran Bush there joining us on Travel Boom 2021. Keep your comments coming in. We love to hear all your comments coming in, good or constructive, bad, whatever you want to put there, put below. We'd love to hear from you. Now, our next person on the show, you might have recognized him somewhere on the television. We catch up with Silver. So I'm joined now on Zoom with no stranger to the entertainment world, of course, and that's Silver. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. I'm really good.
Mate, it's good to see you. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Now, we're talking about everything Travel Boom 2021 and travel and things like that. Now, you've been gigging somehow during this lockdown or the COVID era. How has that been for you in traveling around?
I suppose it's been really different. Like the actual performances and stuff like that are very, very different. The volume noise limiter is made sure that it's at a certain level. I guess we're not allowed to hit past 100 dB. The audiences are all spaced out. You know, the standard social distance and things. All of the gigs had to be done at 8 o'clock rather than 10 o'clock like normal. But in terms of actually traveling, there's not been too many differences on the road. The places that we stop, the places that we go were just much more secluded, and there was no one there. They were deserted. So it was enjoyable to go to these beautiful places, but there was no one really there. But then when we go to the performances, they would be there, and we'd wonder why they weren't at the other places that we were before. But yeah, it's been very different traveling in 2020 to how it has been in previous years.
Absolutely. We took it all for granted. But I must say, last year you won Best Band and Vocal Group in the National Entertainment Awards. Well done. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're really proud of that award. It was something that we've been working towards for years.
Show us the, show us the,
Here's the little figure. Here's the geezer. He's always within arm's stretch of me when I'm working.
Well, the important thing, what we're talking about with this show, and we're trying to keep it short, is people's stories for travel, you know, and their thirst for getting back to travel, and, you know, travel's going on. How do you feel right now? Are you happy to travel? What's your thoughts on it all, Silver?
For us, we, like, in terms of the staycations, like we perform at a lot of places where people will have staycations, and the parks themselves have gone really out of their way to make these places safe, to make sure that the staff are all trained, to make sure that when you're going in, you're scanning your NHS thing, the track and trace app. They're making sure that they're doing as much as they can to make sure that everything's safe for the customers to be able to go to these places. I think it's a case of the government have to make the decision on whether people can go, because I do believe, having now performed in that environment, having been around that environment, I'm happy to perform. I'm happy with the staff, the way the staff have been trained with it all. You know, before I would have kids, little young children that would run up to us and give us a hug or try and high five us or whatever. And the staff have now been trained in such a way where they can kind of not police that, but it doesn't seem to happen. And if we do any photographs, they're making sure that we're staying the 2 meters and stuff like that. So in terms of safety for the staycations that we have done recently, I do believe it's safe to go back to some form of normality. I think masks must be the thing that I guess help with indoors. So if that's the thing that we have to change, I think some other stuff that we've done has been put outside. So there's been certain places where they haven't done any of the shows indoors. So if people prefer to watch them, they can sit on outside and watch a TV screen of the performance that's inside. It's just different aspects that they've done for people's safety. and I do think that's they've made a lot of progress with it in the short amount of time that they've had to do. So I think in 2021, vaccine, hopefully, but if there isn't, I do think that the holiday scene will be able to boom again next year, purely on the basis that everyone's missing their holidays and these places have had time to prepare for what's coming, you know, or what's been.
Absolutely. I want to just talk about, because if you're performing in holiday parks, and I think we've all got a story, certainly here in the UK, of some of the big brands like your Haven Holidays, Park Deans, they're great, you know, and holidays are not just about going to Barbados or going somewhere exotic or even to Spain. You can have some cracking holidays at these holiday parks here in the UK. And I've mentioned a couple of brand names there now, and even like your Butlins, all the Redcoats. I mean, these are really good entertainment kind of venues, and it's renowned for that. And they are taking it seriously, aren't they? So I think that's the message.
They take it deadly seriously, because they don't look at themselves as anything but the best at what they do. They are the best at what they do. The brands that you mentioned there, you know, we work with them. We work with a few smaller brands as well, and they've all taken it just as seriously. They've had to close when they've had to close, and they've opened with the same restrictions as everywhere else. Yeah, it's cost everyone a fortune this year. Like, it really has cost everyone, all the way down to every member of staff. So we just hope that next year they can kind of all be as safe as they have been this year and continue it, you know. I'm hopeful.
Well, I'm hopeful. And it's a funny thing, you see, because I love talking to entertainers, because back in the old days when I used to have hair and I was quite trendy and cool and young, I used to be a singer entertainer myself. Not anymore, you know.
I have seen one of your music videos.
I am sorry about that. I know that Laurence...
I was watching it and I looked at the date, because obviously it was 12 years ago it was on. And I have some music videos from a similar period that look very similar. So I was like, yeah, I can see why you know.
But Sylvia, do you know what the funny thing is? The phone started going again after all these years from the people who used to book me, saying, Shane, okay, we want to book you again, because when we used to book you, no one used to turn up. So we'd have no problem with the social distancing thing. So I'm like, great, I'll take that. So, but Sylvia, it's been a pleasure catching up with you, hearing your story, and we wish you all the very best with keep winning on those awards, both of you.
I will do our best.
You know, we look forward to watching your travels and where you go next. But just to finish, you know, for people watching this, trying to look for inspiration, in your opinion, get out there and enjoy life and travel and just be safe, right?
Yeah, just be safe. In my opinion, I would say it's all about safety. Just make sure that you are personally safe. And also, the wearing a mask isn't just for yourself. You know, wear a mask to look after other people as well. Keep your distance from people and just enjoy yourself responsibly. You know, enjoy yourself responsibly. Don't get too drunk, because when you get drunk, your inhibitions disappear and you forget about the 2-meter rule. I guess that's probably the only thing I would say. Don't get too hammered. Just enjoy yourself and do it safely.
Amazing. Sylvia, thank you very much indeed for your time. Look forward to catching up with you real soon.
No worries. Take care.
Do you want to start traveling again? Well, we're hoping that Travel Boom 2021 show is going to give you that confidence by hearing people's stories. Now, I've got Laurence Finn, who joins me on the show now. Laurence, your thoughts on the last show and the feedback from the last show?
Shane, good to speak to you. And first of all, I want to thank all the viewers. You know, so many positive comments, so many likes, so many subscribes. Just been wonderful to see, to be quite honest. We've really had 3 points that have come across from everyone's comments. The first point is that people want this lockdown to end. People want to start to get out their house again. They want to start just traveling the world. That's the first thing to come out. The second thing to come out is a lot of people have started to book for 2021, and they are starting to see the prices increase. So everyone just be aware that as we push into 2021, demand is going to drive price. And you know, the people overseas especially are very aware that there are hundreds of thousands of us, if not millions of us, who want to go on holiday. So we're going to start to see those prices sneak up. And then the third point was aimed at Jonathan G from last week. And I had probably 60 people say to me, What does that man do for a living? He has 15 holidays a year. Jonathan G, you are trending, my friend. You are trending.
Hashtag Jonathan G.
So all good on our side, Shane. Really looking forward to the second show. And I would, you know, it's just so many positive comments. And we even had a lady who's been on Coronation Street. Even she watched our show. So we're doing something right.
Well, it's fantastic to be part of it. Laurence here producing the show for you, and just looking at all these wonderful images that come up on the screen here as you're watching the show just reminds you of all those good times to come again as we travel our own countries and indeed those abroad. But thank you very much, Laurence. And as always, we'll see you next week. Keep your comments coming in, share it, like it, love it. I've been Shane Solomon and you have been the viewer. Thank you very much. See you next time.